Hey, what's up? My name's JM Chaley and welcome to my channel. This week I want to talk about the death of Kindle Vella. Kindle Vella is gone as of this recording. And I know I've talked a lot about Kindle Vella on my channel in the past because I was doing it for a while. And then, it's funny, I quit Kindle Vella and I figured, I'm not going to talk about it again. And then Amazon decides to nuke Kindle Vella. And I thought, all right, if I still have folks that have come to my channel to hear about what's going on with Kindle Vella, I at least want to address that, the death of Kindle Vella. Basically, not so much the fact that it's dying. We've all heard the news. We know what's up. It's more about the question that some of you may have of what's next? You have a story, maybe it existed on Kindle Vella. Maybe you had a lot more episodes left to go and you're kind of looking for a new home. And when I was originally thinking about this topic, this video, I thought about looking at other Kindle Vella analogs that people could check out. Things like Ream or Royal Road. There's a bunch of them out there. And when I really started thinking about it in terms of advice or, where to go next, I kind of looked at myself and I said, well, when I decided to get out of Kindle Vella, I didn't try to find a different platform that was like Kindle Vella or better. I decided to publish a novel and just go back to writing novels. And I think that's kind of my advice is, if you've got this episode-based thing that you're working on or you have in mind, I would nudge you towards writing novels. And here's why. One of the things that I found that was difficult with Kindle Vella in terms of getting readership was that I was having to always explain what Kindle Vella was. Whether it was friends, family, or just people I would meet online, pitching it, marketing it, I don't only have to say, hey, click on this link, I'd have to say, okay, then when you get to this link, you need to do this, and there's tokens, and there's all this kind of stuff. So it was more than just a sales pitch. I had to explain what it was, how it worked. And I know that I had people that were interested in reading The Unlife of Lisa Cooper, but they didn't want to deal with the hassle of Kindle Vella because it was just, I'd start pouring in all this information of what they had to do, and you'd see their eyes kind of glaze over. They'd be like, oh yeah, well, good luck with that. I had people coming up to me saying, is this in a book format? And of course, outside of the United States, nothing. So I had folks that I was in contact with overseas, and they couldn't get any of my stories. So it was a bad fit for me, and I felt like moving away from Kindle Vella into something similar would have been the same thing. Even if they didn't have to deal with tokens and all this stuff, I know that was a very exclusive thing to Amazon, but having to just explain, this is episode-based, you have to go to this website, you have to do this. People already know what books are. You don't have to explain that. Your pitch should be your story. You shouldn't have to waste a lot of time explaining to people what Kindle Vella is or how Royal Road works, not to ding Royal Road, but you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have to explain the platform in your 30-second elevator pitch or your social media post, right? You should be pitching your book. You should be pitching your story. And one of the things my wife said about Kindle Vella was that it was a pain in the ass. She didn't want to have to wait for the next episode. Imagine reading a book, you read one chapter and you put it on the shelf for a week. And then you read the next chapter and then put it back on the shelf and on and on. That's frustrating, especially in a society where we're used to binge consuming content. Serial-based storytelling was very popular in the 1800s when newspapers were a lot more predominant than what we had. Sure, books existed, but there was this niche that made episode-based storytelling popular back then that I'm not sure we have anymore. So I think you'd have a much broader reach if you were to step away from an episode-based storytelling platform and focused on a novel. Now, you could, if you've already got things laid out in episode format, that's okay. Compile them all into an anthology and treat it as a novel. And not for nothing, but you're probably going to make a lot more money selling it as a novel than distributing it however, episode-based content you were doing anywhere else, or could be doing anywhere else. You're going to make a lot more money selling through Amazon, through Ingram Spark, that sort of thing. And if you have printed copies, author copies of a novel, physical book, you can do book shows and you can sell things, in person right there, at a table, which is great. I make most profits off of book shows because there isn't another distributor taking their cut. I pay for the price of the author copy, and then all the rest is profit for me. So Ingram Spark's not taking a cut, Barnes & Noble's not taking a cut, no bookstore is taking a cut, Amazon's not taking a cut, right? It's all mine. And that's something I couldn't do when I was doing Kindle Vella, no book shows. So if you are now considering doing a novel, you have to think about some other things, because with Kindle Vella, you just took raw text. It could have been from Microsoft Word, it could have been from Notepad, it could have been from Google Docs, could have been from anything, and just paste it into their little, form, and it formats it however they say it's going to be formatted. There's no options for formatting, no special font, nothing. You just put it, and there you go, and it's there. Once you start looking at writing novels, now you're going to have to open up some formatting options. You have to start playing in that arena. But that's okay. I have you covered. I have some links down below. There are options. So there's Vellum, but if you're not on a Mac, you can't really use Vellum. There's Atticus, which is a paid service. It's very good. You can use that with Windows. There's Readsy, which is free. So I'm going to put some links down below for these resources that you're going to have to start getting into the world of formatting. If you're self-publishing and you haven't self-published a novel before, you definitely want to make formatting part of your repertoire of things that you know. I mean, yes, you could write a book in Microsoft Word and format it and put fonts and stuff and save that as a PDF, but I would advise you to use formatting tools that were built for novels and go from there. So I'll put all those links in the description. For the Readsy link, Ben Pick of Running to Write did an amazing on Readsy, and I will put the link to his video in the description below. It's a fantastic tutorial, and Readsy is free. I wrote I formatted the Wicked Wound of Whitney Hill using Readsy. So if you've checked that book out, it was great. It came out, the formatting came out great. And then that brings you to publishing. You're going to want to check out KDP, Ingram Spark, Drafted Digital, depending on what your needs are. I did videos on all three of those platforms, and I'll put those in the description. And what else? Yeah, if you start entering the self-publishing arena in the novel space, you're going to want to watch out for vanity presses. This is probably my last piece of advice. Anybody who wants to publish your book and wants you to pay them, they're scamming you. You should never have to pay to publish. Publishers make money off of sales. So they pay you and they take their cut, right? So you sell a book, they take their cut, you get the rest. That's how both of you make money. That's how publishers and authors make money. An author shouldn't be paying a publisher ever. So, yeah, novels, you can do it. That's my advice. Kindle Vella is dead. What next? Pivot towards writing novels. You have all the skills you need. There's a lot of great tools out there. Some of them are free. It is free to publish on Ingram Spark. It's free to publish on KDP. It's free to publish on Drafted Digital. The only caveat to that, one of them is Ingram Spark. If you publish and then make changes, like 60 days later, they will charge you for changes. KDP and Ingram Spark will not charge for changes, although for Ingram Spark and Drafted Digital, if you want your book widely distributed, you're going to need an ISBN number, but you're probably going to want to use those platforms so that other bookstores beyond Amazon can find your book and get your book into the hands of other customers. There's a lot to it. I can't cover it all in this video, but the links are in the description. So good luck with it. Rest in peace, Kindle Vella. It was a good idea, but yeah, it makes sense that it died. So yeah, I would go towards novels and not towards another Kindle Vella analog. That's just my opinion. If that's your passion, if you like doing the serialized based stuff, please don't let me discourage you. Always write where your passion leads you. You're going to be happier for it. You'll be less stressed out for it, and you'll probably write better stuff for it. So if your heart is still in the serialized platform arena, don't let me dissuade you. Keep on going and have a great time with it. But for everyone else who's on the fence and wondering what to do next, novels is next. Okay, so that about wraps it up. Kindle Vella is dead. What a shame. If you want to stay in touch outside of YouTube, you can follow me on social media, or you can check out jmchaley.com. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.